This is how we draw the entire midbrain. So therefore, cross section of midbrain, which everybody have to draw. So here we discuss here the internal feature, and pretty fast we represent the internal feature with a rough diagram. The entire midbrain, if you take a cross section, transverse section, this is the shape. Here we have to show there is a gray matter. This is the central gray matter, very small, and in the central gray matter is cerebral aqueduct, the cavity, as I told you before, which will connect the third ventricle with the fourth ventricle. So this is cerebral aqueduct and this is the gray matter. Now the entire midbrain internal feature is divided into three different zones. The three different zones will be here. First of all, I will draw. Now this is substantia nigra. This is a pigmented band-like structure, and this is substantia nigra. So here I will write down substantia nigra. Please note down substantia nigra, pigmented band-like structure. This will divide the most anterior. Now this is the anterior. So this anterior portion will be known as crus cerebri. Crus cerebri. Remember, midbrain, as I told you, external feature. These are the two cerebral peduncles. The two cerebral peduncles of midbrain, which will join posteriorly here. So anteriorly you are able to see these two peduncles. Now the entire midbrain is divided from anterior to posterior on right and left side, see here, into the two crus cerebri. Then as you go posteriorly, here if you have this vertical line, so posterior to the crus cerebri, this entire area will be known as tegmentum. Please note down, tegmentum. And then imaginary line, if you draw horizontally through the cerebral aqueduct. Now here we will mention this as cerebral aqueduct. It is a small channel which will connect third ventricle above with the fourth ventricle, where CSF will flow. If you draw an imaginary line, tegmentum is separated from the most posterior part, and this most posterior part is known as tectum, T-E-C-T-U-M. What is this tectum? The tectum is nothing but, as I showed you over here, superior colliculi, inferior colliculi. This superior and inferior colliculi is nothing but tectum. So please come on this side. The entire midbrain is divided by substantia nigra into the anteriormost part, crus cerebri, right and left, posterior part, entire posterior part, again tegmentum, posterior means the middle part, and posterior to tegmentum by an imaginary plane which is passing through cerebral aqueduct into the most posterior part, which is called tectum, which consists of two superior and two inferior colliculi. So therefore, this is the entire section of the midbrain internal feature which we are going to discuss from now on. Now, in the internal feature of midbrain, sometimes short note is asked in such a way that medulla oblongata, for example, draw and label a diagram with the cross section of medulla oblongata at the level of pyramidal decussation, or at the level of pontomedullary junction, or at the level of sensory decussation. Same way medulla we have to study at two different levels. So now we start with the cross section of midbrain at the level of inferior colliculi. So therefore, in the cross section, once again, we draw with this cross section diagram in which we have to show this is the cross section of the entire midbrain. Now we highlight this. Then we show here, this is the central gray matter in which we need to broaden it, slightly broad we have to make. So therefore, in this way we make this central gray matter. Inside we show the cerebral aqueduct. So this is the cerebral aqueduct inside. Then we have to show here, this will be the substantia nigra. I will come across to this substantia nigra, and in this way we have to show the entire substantia nigra, in which you have to show that ventrally it will have various processes here. This process is ventrally, that is what we have to show, and the dorsal, this is concave, dorsal margin. Ventrally there will be various processes. Now we start with, now gradually we have to fill the various structures. We have to label it and we have to write one point about all the structures. So therefore now crus cerebri. So this section over here, we will name this much as crus cerebri. What are the components of crus cerebri? Crus cerebri will contain ascending and descending tracts. So what are the major tracts here? This crus cerebri will contain major portion of the descending tracts where it is divided into, here we divide this crus cerebri into medial 1/6, lateral 1/6, and in the middle 2/3. This is the division. So once again, medial 1/6, lateral 1/6, and middle portion 2/3. Please note down, medial 1/6, lateral 1/6, and this is middle 2/3. Therefore, in the middle 2/3, the descending tracts will be, they are two main varieties of tracts. So here, just a cross section of these tracts which you have to draw. So these two are corticospinal and corticonuclear tracts. Remember, the other name of corticonuclear tract is corticobulbar. So here we have to draw the cross section of these two tracts, corticospinal and corticonuclear tracts. Corticonuclear is relating to, it will relate to various cranial nerve nuclei, and corticospinal, we know that it will form the pyramidal tracts. So here we have to mention the, here instead of pyramidal we'll write down corticospinal tract, and this we'll write down as corticonuclear tract. Then medial 1/6 will contain frontopontine fibers, fibers coming from the frontal lobe of the cerebral cortex to the pontine nuclei. So once again here we have to show these are the frontopontine fibers. Here we have to show the frontopontine fibers. So here we will write this as frontopontine fibers. Remember corticopontocerebellar tract. So out of that, the fibers which are coming from the frontal lobe of cerebral hemisphere will form frontopontine fibers. Now, lateral 1/6 on both the sides will contain, very important, these three varieties of fibers coming from the remaining three lobes. So they will be known as temporopontine, paritopontine, and occipitopontine fibers. Temporo, parito, and occipitopontine fibers. So therefore, here we will mention it as temporopontine, then this will mention it as paritopontine, and here this will mention it as occipitopontine fibers. Here we complete crus cerebri. Then we come to substantia nigra. So here we will mention this as substantia nigra. What you have to mention about substantia nigra will be, this is a pigmented mass collection of cells in which melanin pigment is there. Majority of melanin pigment cells. Now here the entire substantia nigra will have a dorsal concave border and a ventral convex processes. Now this substantia nigra is divided into two parts. More posterior is pars compacta and more anterior is pars reticularis. This is very important. So therefore here we can show this will be pars reticularis. What will it contain? Iron pigment. And this pars reticularis will contain large multipolar neurons but very few neurons. And what about pars compacta? So here if I mention this posterior segment as pars compacta, it will contain small amount of neurons, very small, but so many of them. And these small neurons of pars compacta, which is the posteriormost part of the substantia nigra, will contain melanin pigment, lot of melanin pigments. And please note down, here you have to mention one sentence about connections. Pars reticularis will receive, the anterior pars reticularis will receive afferent fibers coming from the striatum. Striatum is corpus striatum, that is basal ganglia. Later on we will discuss with you. So coming from the caudate nucleus putamen, these fibers from basal ganglia, that is called striatal fibers, will relay in the pars reticularis. So that is called striatonigral fibers. Efferent fibers will pass from pars compacta. From pars compacta, the efferent fibers will relate directly where? Again to the same chordate nucleus and lentiform nucleus, that is striatum, that is basal ganglia. So the efferent fibers will be related from pars compacta. And the name of those fibers, you just have to change the sequence. From here, nigro to there, striatum. So nigrostriate fibers. And what will these fibers relate? Dopamine, which is the main element of the melanin. This much is about substantia nigra. This substantia nigra is present in the midbrain, which will divide crus cerebri anteriorly from tegmentum posteriorly. Now this is the tegmentum posteriorly. Now before we feel the tegmentum, we will take the central gray matter. Please note down, this central gray matter has the cerebral aqueduct. Now what are the nuclei which are present in the central gray matter? Now note down, in the central gray matter, the nuclei which are present will be the first nucleus here. See here, this will be the trochlear nerve nucleus. Remember, this is the section at inferior colliculi, cross section of midbrain at the level of inferior colliculi. So trochlear nerve nucleus. This trochlear nerve nucleus is present ventrally in the central gray matter, and from here the nerve will pass. This is the trochlear nerve which will pass through the central gray matter on either side, and then it will cross. See here, it will pass posteriorly and then it is crossing. Where is it crossing? Now this point is frenulum vellae. This is the frenulum vellae, and this trochlear nerve will cross here in superior medullary vellum, decussation. So decussation of trochlear nerve in superior medullary vellum, it will pass posteriorly, and then from posteriorly it will pass in this direction, it will pass lateral to the cerebral peduncle and come anteriorly. So from the dorsal side, it will cross in this way laterally, and then it will pass ventrally lateral to these two cerebral peduncles. So ultimately this trochlear nerve will pass ventrally, but its origin is in the dorsal region. And remember, it is the only nerve which takes origin from the dorsum of the brain stem. This is the dorsum, and it will decussate. Decussation in superior medullary vellum. So this is the first nuclei, trochlear nerve nuclei. Now later to that nerve nuclei, there will be another nerve nuclei which is common at both the levels of midbrain, and this nerve nuclei will be the mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal nerve. So please note down, this is the mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal nerve, and this mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal nerve, here I will write down, mesencephalic nucleus is a example of, this is often asked in MCQs or Viva, unipolar sensory neuron. Now this is the unipolar sensory neuron which is present here on the lateral side of the gray matter, mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal nerve, where it will relay, where it will have various sensations coming from the head and neck. Which type of sensations? Proprioceptor. And trochlear nerve will relay, it is a motor nerve. This trochlear nerve will supply superior oblique muscle of the eyeball. That is the extraocular muscle. So first trochlear nerve nucleus, second mesencephalic nucleus, now third. In between these two, there will be a small nucleus here, and this nucleus is known as nucleus of Dark-Shavit. So here that spelling is very important. Dark-Shavit nucleus, D-A-R-K-S-C-H-E-W-I-T-C-H, Dark-Shavit nucleus. This nucleus will relay its fibers to posterior commissure. You just have to note down only one sentence. It will relay its fibers to posterior commissure, but this nucleus is present, Dark-Shavit nucleus. Then, just above the trochlear, behind the trochlear or dorsum to the trochlear, there is another nucleus which is present here, just dorsum to the trochlear nucleus, a very small nucleus. This is very important, and this nucleus will be known as dorsal tegmental nucleus. Please note down. So this nucleus here will be known as dorsal tegmental nucleus. And if dorsal tegmental nucleus is present, that means there will be presence of ventral tegmental nucleus also. And that ventral tegmental nucleus will be present exactly here in this way, and it will be present just outside the gray matter. Ventral tegmental nucleus is outside the gray matter, ventral to medial longitudinal fasciculus. So first I will draw here, this is the medial longitudinal fasciculus. This will be a component which is present here in the white matter. So ventral to medial longitudinal fasciculus, there will be this ventral tegmental nucleus. So therefore here we will mark it as ventral tegmental nucleus. midbrain reticular system. So therefore the midbrain reticular nuclei, that is the system, midbrain reticular nucleus, is nothing but collection of ventral and dorsal tegmental nuclei. See the location should be very perfect. And then we come to outside the grey matter, a very small collection of another pair of nucleus here. And these two nuclei, this small collection of the nuclei, they are known as the interstitial nucleus of Casal, C-A-J-A-L. So here I will just mark it as interstitial nucleus of Casal. Now this interstitial nucleus of Casal will send its fibers to medial longitudinal fasciculus. Now note down one thing, since the dorsal and ventral tegmental nuclei will form the midbrain reticular formation, midbrain reticular group of nuclei or midbrain reticular system. Similarly, these nuclei, the dark shaded nucleus which will send its fibers to posterior commissure, and also the interstitial nucleus of Casal which is lying outside the grey matter, they will also contribute their fibers to the reticular formation. So therefore, here we end the nucleus of central grey matter and also the nucleus, few nuclei which are related to the central grey matter but lying outside. Now we come to the one important longitudinal fasciculus which is always asked as a 1 mark question answer, that is dorsal longitudinal fasciculus of Schutz, S-C-H-U-T-Z, Schutz. So what is dorsal longitudinal fasciculus? That dorsal longitudinal fasciculus is, here I will have orange color, this dorsal longitudinal fasciculus I will draw here on either side of the cerebral aqueduct of midbrain. It is present on either side of cerebral aqueduct of midbrain, and this is the dorsal longitudinal fasciculus. This is very important. I will explain it too. First we mark down dorsal longitudinal fasciculus which is present in the grey matter but on either side of cerebral aqueduct. So this dorsal longitudinal fasciculus will connect, note it down, it will connect the nuclei of hypothalamus with that of the entire reticular system which is present in brainstem. That means it will connect the ventral and dorsal tegmental nuclei also, because ventral and dorsal tegmental nuclei are a part of midbrain reticular system only. So therefore, this two dorsal longitudinal fasciculus, elongated column of fasciculus which is connecting the fibers coming from the nuclei of hypothalamus with the entire reticular system of the brainstem, in which the tegmental group of nuclei are also included. And tegmental group of nuclei in midbrain is the dorsal tegmental nucleus and ventral tegmental nucleus. So therefore, this is dorsal longitudinal fasciculus of Schutz. Then we come to tegmentum. In the tegmentum where my hand is there, in the midline, in the anterior portion of this tegmentum, we start with anterior to posterior, the first portion. In the first portion we start with this decussation. Please draw this decussation. And this decussation is known as superior cerebellar peduncle decussation. So you have to note it down. In the tegmentum, starting from the ventral to dorsum, in the midline, we will write it here, we will have the decussation of superior cerebellar peduncle. Now to make you understand what is this decussation of superior cerebellar peduncle, here these fibers coming from the right and left cerebellar nuclei, they are coming from emboliform, vestigial nucleus, dentate nucleus of cerebellum, right and left, and they will decussate here. Where are they going? Some fibers are ascending, some are descending. Ascending fibers will relate to the ventral lateral nucleus of thalamus, thalamic nuclei. It will also relate to the red nucleus. And descending fibers, they will relate to the reticular system, the entire reticular tract of the brainstem. And some of the descending fibers from here, they will relate in the inferior olivary nuclear complex. We have discussed this in the cross section of midbrain. So one of the inferior olivary nuclear group of that complex will receive the fibers from this decussation also. So this is the decussation of superior cerebellar peduncle. Second, dorsal to this, there will be collection of two tracts, that is the group of tracts, and here we show this as rubrospinal tract. So these are the two, right and left side rubrospinal tract. So simply you have to mention this as, here I will mention inside only, rubrospinal tract. Not inside, I should not draw inside because we have to draw certain other things also. So here we will write this as rubrospinal tract, coming from the red nucleus going to the spinal cord. Dorsal to rubrospinal, we come across another two pair, and these two pairs will be known as the tectospinal tract. So therefore here this will form the tectospinal tract. So here I will mention it as tectospinal tract. And dorsum to tectospinal tract is medial longitudinal fasciculus. But just in front of medial longitudinal fasciculus we have drawn ventral tegmental nucleus. So therefore tegmentum in the midline, following structures from anterior to posterior, decussation of superior cerebellar peduncle, then rubrospinal tract, then we have the tectospinal tract, and we have the medial longitudinal fasciculus. So here we need to note down, this we will note down as the medial longitudinal fasciculus. So this much we have to note down. And then we come across to the lateral part of this tegmentum. Now in the lateral part of this tegmentum, we have to draw the four lemnisci, which are very important, and those four lemnisci which we shall be drawing will be, we start with the first lemniscus. So here in this way we show the medial to lateral. So this will be the medial lemniscus. Here we are drawing the medial lemniscus. And what will medial lemniscus contain? It will contain fasciculus gracilis and cuneatus. Lateral to this lemniscus will be, here we will draw, just lateral to it we are going to draw the trigeminal lemniscus. What will trigeminal lemniscus contain? The ventral trigeminothalamic fibers. This is very important. So here we will first write this as the medial lemniscus. Medial to lateral we are going. This will be the second trigeminal lemniscus. Then the third, we come across to the third, and this lemniscus, the third one will be known as spinal lemniscus. Please draw here. This will be the spinal lemniscus. This as spinal lemniscus, and then we come to fourth. What will spinal lemniscus contain? It will contain lateral spinothalamic tract, carrying fibers of pain and temperature. And the final lemniscus which we have to draw, this is the final lemniscus which we have to draw, and it will extend directly into the inferior colliculi. So this will be known as the lateral lemniscus. So here we are going to write lateral lemniscus. Do not alter the sequence. This is the sequence from medial to lateral at the tegmentum of midbrain at the level of inferior colliculus. We start with the medial lemniscus, trigeminal lemniscus, spinal lemniscus, and lateral lemniscus. Then we come to tectum. This tectum is occupied by inferior colliculi. So here we are going to show this will be ovoid group of collection of the neurons. Ovoid group of collection of the neurons. And this is the inferior colliculus. So here we show this inferior colliculus here. And now this inferior colliculus, if I show it over here, please come on this side. This is the inferior colliculus. Very simple. We have to write several points in inferior colliculi, and those points will be, for example, we shall write down afferent and efferent. First is the definition. This inferior colliculi is a collection of ovoid group of nuclei. It is an ovoid mass which gets collected in the form of various nuclei, which is present in the tectum. Next, this nuclei, inferior colliculi, will receive afferents from, very important, it is receiving afferents from lateral lemniscus. As we have shown in the direction, in the diagram, this lateral lemniscus will merge in the inferior colliculi. So first it will receive fibers from lateral lemniscus. And what is lateral lemniscus carrying? The main portion, which is auditory nerves, auditory impulses. So auditory sensations, auditory impulses are carried by lateral lemniscus directly into inferior colliculus. The second set of fibers it is receiving from the inferior colliculi of opposite side. This is also very important. So if I show here this connection, I can show this is how it is connected. Right to left, left to right. These arrows are showing that these two inferior colliculi are connected with each other. Both the inferior collicular right and left will connect. They will send the fibers to each other. Then third, this inferior colliculi superiorly, this is also very important, we will show that superiorly it is connected via inferior brachium to the medial geniculate body. So this is the inferior brachium, and then there will be medial geniculate body, which I can show here with this color. This will be the medial geniculate body, and this medial geniculate body is the posterior component of thalamus. Why this is important is because of auditory sensations. So this entire channel will relay auditory sensations. Remember, on both the sides, the inferior colliculi and both the sides are connected via inferior brachium to the medial geniculate body. That is what we need to write down in the point. So therefore, in this point, when we please come on this side, here, efferent, where will the fibers from inferior colliculus go? In the efferent from inferior colliculus, it will relate via the medial geniculate body. Medial geniculate body, as I have shown, from the inferior brachium to medial geniculate body, and from there via auditory radiation, you can put an arrow, auditory radiation, to the auditory area of cerebral hemisphere. And what is that auditory area of cerebral hemisphere? It will be related to area number 41 and 42, auditory area of the cerebral cortex. It is related. So therefore, this is how the efferent channel of inferior colliculus will pass. And also this inferior colliculus is connected with the inferior colliculus of the opposite side. Through this comes fibers. Right and left both are interconnected. And the last set of fibers which the inferior colliculus will send, it will send to superior colliculus. Ipsilateral superior colliculus. If the right side inferior colliculus is there, it will send its fibers to right superior colliculus. Left side it will send to left. And why this is important? When this inferior colliculus of one side, ipsilateral, connected to the superior colliculus, that means from superior colliculus, the fibers from superior colliculus are directly related to corticonuclear fibers. Corticonuclear group of nuclei. Which cortico group of nuclei? Which will regulate the extraocular muscles of the eyeball, movement of eyeball. And at the same time, superior colliculi will also be connected to the spinal group of nuclei of cervical spinal cord, in which it will regulate the movements of head and neck. So therefore, through this connection, ipsilateral inferior colliculi to superior colliculi, and as superior colliculi are connected with the spinal group of neurons present in the cervical column, spinal cord, and also the cranial group of nuclei which will regulate the extraocular muscles of the eyeball. Here, through this chain, it will regulate the movement of head and neck towards the source of sound. If there is any sound occurring, if on my right side there is production of any sound, my head will move and seek the direction. This movement is controlled only by this sequence. Ipsilateral connection of inferior colliculi with superior colliculi with the corticonuclear group of nucleus, corticonuclear group of the connections with the extraocular muscles, and spinal group of neurons which will be present in cervical column of spinal cord. So towards the production of sound, movement of your head and neck and eyes towards that side, this movement is very important. This is the chain, this is the channel which is controlling that movement. This is where we finish the entire, now this is where we finish the entire cross section of midbrain at the level of inferior colliculi. Thank you very much.